we'll gather round, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So first off, I received some happy mail the other day. Terry sent me this absolutely gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous, like drippingly gorgeous tumbler that is a Diamond Dots one, and it has like everything I love. Sunflowers and elephants. I mean, how much more perfect can you get? So a huge thank you to Terry. I really appreciate it. It is absolutely like just all of the things. Okay, let's get into today's video. So I decided that I want to I'm still playing along the decoupage line, right? But we're gonna try it in some jewelry. And we're gonna make some really incredible pieces today. So I am using all kinds of stuff in this jewelry. First off, we're starting with the newest Let's Resin jewelry mold. Now, this is the double mold. It comes with the larger ones and smaller ones. This is the larger mold, right? We're going to use some ribbon. We're going to use some cogs and charms and all kinds of like scrapbook papers, just all kinds of stuff to make some really gorgeous pieces. So, a few videos back when I was showing you guys the different glitter mixes that I made, I used this mold as well. So I have some pieces that have already been cured that we're going to use as kind of like a template for the size, so we can cut these things down to size for these. First off, I want them to have kind of like a magnifying effect to what I'm doing, right? To make everything look larger than what it is and stand out more and whatever. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking my Craftor UV resin and I'm just filling in the cavities, not maybe like a third of the way up, okay? I'm going to take my silicone tool, just go around, pick out any bubbles that may have gotten trapped along the along the silicone or whatever, making sure that it is completely just perfect, right? Hit it with my lighter to pop any bubbles. We're going to let this cure using our cordless Let's Resin UV light. As it is doing its curing thing, this is what we're going to be working with today. Now, this is from just various different scrapbooking type papers that I've collected along the ways over the years. Most of this scrapbook type paper, I'm pretty sure I got off Temu. I don't have links for it anymore, as I don't shop there. So just because of all of the stuff, and anyway, I'm not getting into that. I no longer shop there. So I don't have links for you guys for that, but really you can use any kind of craft booking paper that you want. Now, these are little like iridescent like sheets. They're super thin. They're not as thick as your typical scrapbook paper, which makes them kind of better. These papers that I'm doing here too, more of like a gothic type sense. Again, a little bit thinner than those kind of geode looking ones up top. I don't think it makes a difference as long as it's something that you can cut down to size, right? I really don't think for this. Now, to decoupage, like in real decoupaging, yes, the thinner the better. You want to be able to work with it, whatever. But for what we're doing today, for these intents and purposes, the thickness is not going to necessarily matter. Now, what is going to matter is the size that you cut these down to. So, hindsight is a wonderful thing. When I was doing this and cutting all of the things down, I know that the size, because of the way the mold kind of goes like narrower and then comes out a little bit wider towards the back, right? I know that I need to cut inside of the line a little bit, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to cut it so tight that your whatever paper or fabric or whatever that you're using, you do not want it to touch along the walls of your silicone mold. You need to have a little bit of space all the way around for that resin to get down to that bottom layer of resin underneath of it that's cured, so that it has something to adhere onto. Otherwise, you're going to get either it's going to split over time, right? Or just in general, it's going to split, or you're going to have huge air holes. So when you cut this down, if you use another piece that is from the same mold to measure with. Cut inside of your line for one. And before you actually like secure it down onto your resin piece, make sure that you have enough of a gap in between all the way around that you can see that layer before. Okay? I'm just, this is from past experience, and I still screwed up even in this one a little bit, that I've got stuff I'm going to need to fix because I didn't leave myself enough space. So that is very, very, very important for this. Now, these little, I don't even know what they are. It's almost like a very fine, not lace, kind of meshy type deal. I thought it would be cool to add some more like depth into the piece. So instead of just going in and putting our clear resin down and then putting the backing on, we're going to include some things, and we're going to do it in multiple pours so that we're adding a lot of depth and interest to these pieces. I don't want them just to be pendants. I want them to be miniature works of art in each one that tell its own story, right? Now, you can go, like, I feel like I went kind of like, I did a lot, but you could really get into it, and you could do, there's so much more that you can do with this that maybe we'll explore in a future video just to make them that much more. Now, I went through and I'm going to fill up this whole mold. I went through, I traced all of the pieces that I need. Now it's just time to cut each one of them out. And you don't throw away the paper. Like, you can use it for other stuff. It's not trash yet. Like, there's still a lot of space left that you can do whatever you want and add it to whatever, right? Okay. Last little bit, cut out the rest of it so that you guys didn't have to watch all of that. I've got all of my pieces pretty much all set up. Now we're going to go ahead and start looking through the charms and decide what we want to add charms to, what we don't. Now, obviously, for the ones that have like prominent flowers, I'm not going to, but I am going to add some stuff to some of the other ones. Again, just for interest. We're building an art scene. We're telling a story of some sort. So we want to just add to it, right? It doesn't need to be just plain. Although some of these papers are beautiful enough that just plain is perfectly fine. Like, they just show, they're just gorgeous on their own. But I like to go extra, so that is what I'm going to do. Now, as I kind of just go through all of this, I'm just going to bounce off and let you kind of just watch that, and then I will be back when we're ready to start assembling all of these pieces.
Feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew.
Okay, I'm back. Now, I decided that for a couple of these, I just wanted to add a little bit of just pop to it. So I got out my Just Art markers, and I'm just going to go over the gold in this piece. And then I'm just going to use my black one just on this flower here, just to kind of darken and deepen that black a little bit and make it stand out just a little bit more. Add some more definition to it and give it some more dimension, okay? Now we're going through all of the charms, and you just need these little clipper doodads and cutting off the little rings. I'm kind of placing them in which cavity I'm going to put that particular one in so that it's already set. And then what we're going to go ahead and do after this is we're going to put our next layer of resin. Now, because some of these I'm using more than one charm, I think there's 2 of them that I use 2 charms on. And then there is also 2 that I am using, I think it's just 2. Yeah, 3. Sorry, 3 that I'm using, like a combination of that little meshy stuff in some stars, and then just the little weird squiggly lines. And what I want to do for those is they're going to each be their own layer because I want it to set up closer and my background piece be back further. So they're each going to be their own layers. So we want to make sure that when we're adding this next layer, we're not adding so much that we're going to run out of space before we have everything incorporated that we want to incorporate, right? So I've got the charms that I got to put in. I've got those extra layers. The ones that I'm doing 2 charms in, it's going to be 2 separate layers, again, for dimension. Then we have the little extra bits for those 3, the stars and whatever. Then we have our backing paper, right? And then I want to add it back to it. So I've got between 3 and 4 layers still that I need to get in here before everything is said and done. So that, I said all of that to say you want to make sure that while yes, you want your charm to be pretty much completely under the resin, you don't want to add too much resin that you're just going to fill it up too much, and then you're not going to be able to add everything you want to add to get that dimension in there, because in my opinion that dimension is going to be really important to create the look that I want to create with these. So at this point I'm just going to go through, I'm going to add each one of these. Now when I get to the cogs, because there's like 4-ish pieces that I'm using, you got to remember you're working backwards, right? So I'll put a little bit of resin down, and then I'm going to start building it up from the front to the back. And I want the front pieces to be on the bottom, the back pieces to be behind. So I'm going to have to kind of stack them on top of each other a little bit, which can get kind of tricky to get the look that you want when you reverse it and you're looking at it the right way. So you just kind of got to work with that just a tad. Okay, so that first layer done, cured. Now we are on to adding that second additional layer for those certain pieces. You can see I already added the stars. This is going to have my, so my cloud is going to be first, then I'm going to have the stars, and then after that's cured, then I'm going to have my moon in there. Now I'm adding the little extra bits. We're going to cure that. Some of them that aren't going to have an extra layer, I'm going to add a little bit more resin to, because I don't necessarily want that paper to be that close to the front of it. It needs to be the background, right? So if it's just going to be just that background, which a few of them are, I do need to build up that resin in there. So I will just put a layer of clear resin just to fill it up a little bit more. We're going to make sure we get all the bubbles out, cure that, and then get ready to pour our next one, which we have the moon to do next. So we're not going to be quite at the background yet. Now, we can start talking about it though, because this is going to cure, do its thing. We just have the moon to add for the last bit. That's all of our layers done, with the exception of the background and then the backing, which we're going to use some glitter to kind of hide that paper background so it doesn't look all ugly and stuff. Okay, so for this, as I add the moon on there, when you put this on here, typically they say, you know, paper, pictures, stuff like that, you want to coat, right? You want to seal it in somehow, and a lot of people use Mod Podge to do it. Well, what's worked for me, and I'm not saying it's going to necessarily work for everybody all the time, whatever, but it has worked for me every time I do it. Instead of sealing it first and then putting it in, I kind of do combine all those steps together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my Mod Podge, and I'm not using a whole lot, right? Just enough to, it's going to seal that front part and glue it down all at the same time, so I don't have to worry about bubbles getting trapped underneath, or the ink, you know, from the paper fading or bleeding or anything like that into the resin. I won't have to worry about it coming through and distorting my color. None of that. It's not going to soak into it. So I am making sure that I cover it completely on the bottom, and then I'm going through and I am putting a layer on top, making sure to hit around all of those edges to get the edges down so we don't have resin going up underneath. And then we're going to let it dry. Now, this is where I was talking about. It's very important to make sure that you have a little bit where you can see around the edge, like you can see on those bottom two, like kind of teardrop shapes. You see how you can kind of see the edge around the sides of it at any rate? That's what you want, but you want it all the way around. And this is where I didn't do such a great job all the way around. Like there are still areas that are touching the mold, and that is going to cause me issues later on that I'm either going to have to decide if I'm going to trash the piece or fix the piece, because we're going to get air bubbles or it's not going to adhere the way it needs to. It could cause issues with splitting later on, all of the things that you don't want, right? So I'm going to go through this part real quick. I'm going to let this dry. After this has been totally dry, then we're going to start our glitter background. And for the glitter that I'm going to use today, it is Hemier, I think is how you pronounce it. Their chunky glitter. I showed you guys several videos back. It's absolutely gorgeous, super, super sparkly. And I just think that this will be the perfect background to it. Now, the one issue that I did have is that I didn't remember which pieces are which, and you kind of can't tell because they all have white backgrounds on them now. So I had to go through, flip my mold over, and then with a Sharpie kind of right next to it what color background I want, because they're not all going to be the same. I want them to kind of go with whatever the image is or the color scheme of that particular thing. So that took me some time to kind of do that, and I still messed up, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to mix the glitter just a little bit into the UV resin, put it on the backing, cure it. Now, I will do a couple of different layers, and then what I do also like to do, I don't necessarily like glitter as the like backing for it, because especially not so much with your fine glitters, but with your chunky glitters, if they're not all laying completely flat, then it's lumpy and bumpy on the back. So I do want to leave just a little bit of space before I fill it completely up, to almost kind of like dome it in the back just with clear UV resin, so that I'm going to have a nice smooth back finish and not the bumps from the glitter itself. So I'm going to do that. Make sure if you are new, it still needs to be transparent even with the glitter in there. So you don't want to do it super, super thick like I did with this blue accidentally, and it took me like 20 minutes to cure it. It was a bit ridiculous. You want to do thin layers because that's UV light still needs to go all the way through to penetrate and cure that resin that's under there, right? And it may seem like it's cured on top, but if you push in it, you're going to push holes in it, because that's how I was kind of checking it to make sure. And the glitter will pop out and then it'll start oozing that UV resin. So make sure that you are completely curing it, making it not so opaque like I did. I kind of learned after that. This looks like it is, but it's a lot more transparent than what it looks from far away. Anyway, I'm going to bounce off on this part. I don't need to talk all the way through it. I will be back when we are ready to demold.
Said UV resin, what could derail a tiny craft for my coffee table? How hard could it be? I felt so able, but the tube exploded, the lamp was dim, my confidence fell on a resin whim. I'm in a sticky situation. Oh no, fingers stuck like a puppet show. I'm glossy, shiny, and full of regret. This crafting dream ain't dry just yet. I poured too much, it spilled on the floor. Now my cat's a statue, she's part of decor. The instructions said cure in the light, but now my hair's in the mix, what a sight. The UV lamp's got a mind of its own. It flickered twice, then turned to stone. I'm coated in resin, I'm sculpted in shame. A modern art piece
It started with a magazine, a glue stick and a dream so clean. Paper flowers in my mind's parade. I cut the stars from an old postcard, stuck them on my coffee jar. Now my kitchen glows like the Milky Way. Snip, snip, I'm in a trance, gluey fingers, paper dance. Cut and paste my heart, oh baby, every corner's looking crazy. Deco page my life away. Stick it down, or don't fade.
Okay, I am back. I'm just finishing up the last little bit. I'm going to let it cure for another good 5 minutes just to make sure that everything's done. Check it really well to make sure it's hard, and here we go. Now, the one thing that I forgot to do is cure it from underneath as well. So do you want to make sure this piece got messed up. Now, I can fix it. What I did was I just popped it in and let it cure for about 10 minutes on the front side. It's still, some of them are still a little sticky. So for the piece that I demolded and it got messed up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cure it, make sure it's 100% totally cured. And then I'm going to take my new Let's Resin sander and I'm just going to sand that down. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Teexpert dipping resin that I have. And I'm going to dip it and fix that piece. I think these turned out really, really pretty. Like, they are so pretty. Even the one that's messed up, like, if you can't really tell on video, but looking from behind it, it turns out absolutely gorgeous. This one, I don't know how I messed up on the color of that one, but I 100% did. That was not supposed to be that color. That should have been a silver instead of a brown, but it is what it is. Some of them, I kind of wish I would have thought a little bit more and maybe picked out the colors before I glued the pictures down for my glitter to just so it matched a little bit better. But all in all, I think they are really, really pretty. I love the iridescent sheen that you get on there. Can't really see the cross super well with all of the brightness that's around there. The cross just kind of gets lost. But I do like how they turned out. Now, my favorite ones, I think, are the one with the cogs, the one that I put the ribbon in with the sunflower and the little leaf, and then the ones that we're gonna come up here in a minute. This one I think turned out super pretty. Again, I could have done a better job matching the background glitter color to it, but I think all in all, it's pretty. I love the image on it. I love how the resin that you put up front just magnifies it and makes it just appear like it's so much bigger than what it actually is. This one is one of my favorites too. It is so pretty. You get so much dimension out of the layer, just from the charm, and then the layer of that little, whatever that meshy stuff is, and then the background. Turtle turned out super cute. This one right here. This is one of my absolute favorites. I love how this turned out. So pretty. All right, so as I finish demolding these, here's my thing. This was another one of my favorites. I was gonna do them as pendants, right? I'm not so sure. Oh yeah, and this one. I really like them all for the most part. There's a couple that I'm like, yeah, but for the most part, I really like them. This one turned out really cute too. Anyway, I was gonna do them as jewelry pendants, right? But I'm not so sure that. I don't know. I don't, like, should they be magnets? Should they be like little things that people hang from like their purses or backpacks? Should they be jewelry pendants? What should they be? What should I do with them? I want to finish them off. Now, there are a couple that, and I'm going to show you here, this one right here. But there's a couple like this that I do need to go and fix, which is why I'm not finishing them in today's video. Well, one of the reasons. When we are talking about the paper, this is why it's important to make sure that you don't touch the mold. See how I have that big hole there? That's where that resin just couldn't get around the paper, so it didn't fill it. So now I have this hole to fix, which I think is definitely doable. What I will do is, after I get it cleaned up and everything, I'm just going to fill it with some UV resin, fill that hole in, right? Cure that, and then I think I'm probably going to end up dipping most of them, at least all of the ones that are messed up, like that one that got messed up when I touched it and it kind of smeared the front. That's going to have to get sanded and fixed. The ones, any of them that have the holes on the side, which there are a few, I will fill sand and then dip them in resin just to finish them off. But how should I finish these? What should I do with them? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment, right? You lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel glow. Every single view, I owe it all to you. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care.